Hello, and welcome to People Talk Now. I'm your host, Vanessa Herrera, and this is the show where you ask about it, and I talk about it. And let's not forget, guys, we're trying to change the pace out there on what people call better days. That's right. We're doing that. And yeah, welcome to episode 36. And good morning. I hope you're all having a fucking fantastic fucking Wednesday morning, because I know that I am. Are you? Yeah, that's all. So, what are we talking about today? I thought it would be really great to talk about dealing with rejection. And how do we get offended in the first place? How do we get to that in the first place? So, today's episode should go by pretty fast because it's pretty easy. So yeah, I have first-hand experience with rejection, and so I know a thing or two about it. Again, I just want to disclose that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist. I am in no shape or form have written any books about this, but I do have, like I said, personal experience and some insights that I would like to share that maybe can help you look at rejection in a different way, and maybe it might help you out of something like maybe you're stumped right now, maybe you've been rejected, and rejection can go into many, many forms. It can go into relationships, friendships, careers, you name it. If it could be rejected, it can put you down. So let's get started. First of all, before I get started, I just want to say that I hope that you all woke up with good spirits this morning, and that you woke up with grateful minds, and that you find something positive to put your energy towards today. And if that's you, then congratulations. I just made up that word. You're welcome. So yeah, how do we deal with rejection? How do we deal with it? Well, there's been a lot of times growing up where I recalled, maybe not being liked by a group of people, where I didn't take risks because of the fear of being rejected, putting all my eggs in one basket type of thing. And just, sometimes people don't like what you like, and maybe you don't really know how to handle that rejection. One thing I can definitely say about rejection is that it often feels very personal, right? Like whenever we feel rejected, we take it personal, and we just feel like, damn, like I don't belong anywhere. It's like, maybe I should just go fucking crawl under this fucking rock right now because I'm pretty outcast. I'm feeling like an outcast right now, right? But it's, again, rejection hurts, and I know that it often feels very personal, and it kind of makes you feel like maybe you're not good enough for someone or something, and it can lead to a lot of other negative thoughts and feelings and about ourselves, really. And so, again, and this can go into a lot of things. It can go into our bodies. It can go to physical pain, headaches, all these other things. It's kind of puts us in this fight or flight mode, and nobody wants to feel that sensation. At least I know I didn't. And one thing to kind of get the sting out of rejection is to kind of be ready for it, to kind of be ready for whatever's going to come your way. And this kind of, when I say that, I don't mean that you should stop caring about things, right? And I don't mean that you should stop taking risks. I think that you should think about why you want those things and why it is that you want that experience in the first place, right? So say maybe you've been rejected by your social group. You have to ask yourself, like, why is it that you want those things? Why is it that you want to feel accepted, or, and whatnot? Me personally, if I could share my experience, I know that a lot of the times, when I was being rejected from like social groups, because it was basically like an image that I was putting on myself, and I don't think that I realized that. For starters, I didn't realize that I was putting this wall up because I was afraid of being rejected in a lot of friendships. And again, this can go into many things. This can also go into like your a job that maybe you're going for, um, you know, job, career, social situations, and a maybe a more intimate relationship. Um, but essentially, rejection is something that like you don't basically have to deal with. How do you deal with it? First of all, you don't acknowledge it. You don't really acknowledge it, right? Because I feel like if the word didn't exist, right? If the feeling didn't really exist, then you wouldn't really know if you were being rejected or not, right? But because we acknowledge it, the fact that we know, like, okay, there's a possibility that I might fail at this particular thing, whether, let's just put it into one category right now so it's not so confusing, so I'm not like bouncing all over the fucking place, because I feel just like I'm bouncing everywhere right now. But let's just say for social situations, you know, how do you deal with rejection, right? Because I feel like rejection, in my personal opinion, and this is my perspective. This is not doesn't have to be yours. I feel like rejection has a lot to do with what's going on in the world. Because if you think about uh, consumerism, right? If we go into that and we think about the need to constantly feel like you have to be on the up and up, like constantly feel like you have to be accepted, or like you have to be wearing this, right? Like so that you can be with the times, right? And I think, a lot of the, not a lot of the times, but speaking for myself, um, I look at stuff and I'm just like, oh, like, yo, I see people are wearing this right now. This must be like the happening thing. And then what happens? Like you feel this constant need to buy newer things because you're just trying to keep up with everybody. And then at the end, you're just like, yo, like I should be trying to keep up with me, with my evolution, with who I am. Like fuck the outer parts, like the things that doesn't really matter, the materialistic things, the things that, you know, they don't have any feelings, like clothes, material possessions, right? And I think that's kind of like one of the aspects that you can look at it, like the fear of rejection, the fear of not belonging. So again, I get, people have told me like, how have you grown to become so confident in the person you are? And like I said in my previous videos, like I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always this confident. I wasn't always this outspoken. I have my father to thank for a lot of that, because my dad kind of like, he got that shyness out of me, he just gave it to me straight up and was like, yo, Vanessa, this is how it is. And so I think through my life, whenever I would face a situation where I kind of felt like I was being rejected, I knew that I had a choice to make. The choice was like, am I going to take it personal, first of all? And if I am taking it personal, is it worth, like, what does it mean to me? Like, am I accepting this? And am I going to allow that situation to basically depict my life and who I am and my worth, right? And so that's kind of what I'm getting at here. I just think that you need to recognize, and rejection comes in so many things, like I said, in increments. It could be something as trivial as maybe somebody not liking something that you like, right? Then because of that, you start experience that, and then it turns into bigger things, and it goes into your relationships, your job, your school, and everything. And so that every time you feel that little bit of rejection, it's just building up inside of you, and it could just damper and mess with a lot of things if you really think about it. And so how did I deal with it? First of all, whenever I felt like I was being rejected from any situation, I had a very like I'm not saying that everybody's the same. Again, everybody is different. But I know that most of the time I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, straight up. Like, I don't know how to tell you guys this. But every time like I felt like somebody didn't like me, um, I just was like, I don't give a shit. Like, and it's such a liberating feeling because I guess when you tell yourself mentally up here, when you're just like, I'm not acknowledging the fact that somebody doesn't fucking like me, right? Like, that I'm being rejected, or like you go to a job and maybe, you don't get hired because of the way you look. It happened to me so many times. I didn't get hired because I had tattoos like over 10, 15 years ago. I wouldn't get a job because people were like, oh, yeah. And now it's like fucking, it's such a normal thing now. Like, it's like you have tattoos. It's like, oh, yeah, go right ahead, No, it's like a normal fucking thing. Um, and so, like, I get it. I faced all types of rejection. Um, and rejection can typically come about when you decide to take a risk at something. You kind of throw yourself out there for something that you want. And then, you know, again, maybe you can't handle it because you've never kind of put yourself in those low feelings of rejection. You've never kind of, been in it. So then the minute that you feel it, you don't really know how to handle it. And I think one of the things that is important for us to acknowledge is that we have to reflect on that experience whenever it happens to us. And a lot of the times that's kind of what will happen to me. Like, if before I started becoming like a more of a hard ass about it, I think whenever I was feel myself in a certain situation socially where I was being rejected by somebody, I think I would just be like, you know what? Okay. I kind of would later on, I would go home and maybe I would think about it and I would kind of reflect on it and be like, damn, like that was fucking weird. Like, that's kind of fucked up, But then I think you need to evaluate, like, what kind of fucking people am I talking to? Like, because if someone or anyone rejects you, again, that's them. Like, that's the way they view the world. They're viewing the world through different eyes. Maybe you're not, I think where a lot of things go wrong is when people have this certain idea and expectations of how they want somebody to be, right? And I think in those kind of situations, it's not really fair to another person. So, uh, I feel like a lot of the times, that rejection feeling that comes along can happen to some of us because we put all our eggs in one basket, and then when shit doesn't work out the way we thought it was going to, because it didn't go a certain way as planned, and we want it, right? We need that. It's necessary for us to be happy. Again, it just puts you in a really fucked up situation where you feel rejected because you feel like the situation maybe didn't go as planned. It was unexpected, and you don't really know how to deal with that. So I think that you shouldn't pressure yourself, and I don't think we should pressure other people to basically try to make us happy. These feelings of rejection, I think, come from, like you basically overthinking too much, and basically like just are not in really good, not in situations where you need to be. So yeah, another thing that it's very important for you to do, if you need to, if you're a person that doesn't handle rejection well, again, this could be like maybe you went to apply for a job that you've been wanting forever, and maybe they didn't pick you, they picked somebody else. I think that knowing other people who have gone through the same thing, who can maybe talk to you about it, and who will support you, and you'll kind of look at the word rejection and just be like, you know what, maybe this isn't really a big of an issue as I'm making it out to be. And again, rejection can happen in so many ways, like, especially nowadays. It can happen in person, it can happen online, by phone, by text. Sometimes it's a surprise, sometimes it's coming. It can be hard to know exactly when you'll react, right? But these are some things that I feel like you should consider when you're being rejected, right? So, one of the things that I have here is take time to cool off, right? Because most of the time we're just not looking at things clearly. We're just having certain expectations of something, and therefore we bring those feelings on ourselves. And I know, like, some people say take time from somebody who again, nobody can make us do anything. But if you're the type of person that wants to say that you felt rejected, okay, we're also not oblivious to the feeling of when we're being rejected, when someone doesn't really they don't really vibe with our energy. Like, we're not oblivious to that. Like, we also know, like, okay, you know what, this person's kind of being a dick, or she or he is being a, and straight up, like, we know. So maybe you need to take some time apart from someone who's constantly making you feel that way. If it hurts or if you feel angry, this could be, important, so that, maybe you need to talk about it so that you don't say something or do something that you're going to end up regretting. So it's just kind of like, it's probably a better idea, especially if someone that hurts you and made you feel that way. Maybe you need to take a little break, because sometimes when we're pissed off, you end up saying something you don't really mean, and then you're going to regret it. And then it's just going to cause a whole other heap of fucking problems that you probably, are not going to want. And I know sometimes it feels so good. Like, maybe you're just like, man, I want to hurt this person back so bad because they made me feel worthless, rejected, hurt, sad, pain, whatever. But in the long run, hurting someone may make you feel it may feel satisfying in the moment, but then eventually, it's not going to help you in the long run. It's just going to feel like a big turd. So don't do that. Please don't. Take time to cool off when you're feeling rejected. Allow yourself to feel the emotions you feel. It's kind of normal to feel things. I think a lot of people suppress things inside, and you don't want to do that because it's just not good for your health. Talk about things. Meditate. There is no kind of right way to feel when you're feeling rejected. Some people feel disappointed, some people feel sad, some people feel angry, etc. All of those emotions are completely valid for you to feel. But also remember that kind of nursing your feelings is your responsibility. And it's okay if you need support from somebody. Again, you got to deal with your feelings. Another way for you to deal with rejection is surround yourself with supportive and lovable people. Being around people who make you feel good and care about you can be a very helpful situation. Stop being around people who make you feel rejected. Just because someone didn't accept you, or a workforce didn't accept you, or whatever, socially, in a relationship, maybe somebody broke up with you, understand that because other people who do not accept you are out there, there's just as much good people in the world who are going to accept you just as you are. Okay? Because I assure you that there is nothing wrong with you. Okay? If people give off that notion, is because they're just not really awake, and they're maybe living in a fantasy land. So I'm sorry to you. Take time to be alone. It's okay to be alone sometimes and think about stuff. As great as family and friends can be, it can also help to be by yourself for a little while, because, it's okay to kind of lean on other people, but at the same time, it's okay to take a break from people and just enjoy your own company, and, just be with yourself and your own thoughts, and, just kind of take time alone. So another thing that is important when you're dealing with rejection from social situations or jobs is that you need to take care of yourself. You often need rest to heal. when you're feeling rejected. Sometimes, um, the same thing can be said about rejection. It can be a painful thing, but some people like exercise. Some people like ice cream. Do whatever feels good to you. Um, or watching your favorite movies. Just do whatever makes you feel better. That's it. Just do you, boo. Do you. And build your self esteem. Clearly, that's one of the things, you know, being rejected can definitely fuck with your self esteem, right? And uh, I can't say that in a relationship I've ever been rejected by somebody, but socially, I think there's been times in my life that I could recall where I was being rejected from a situation and I felt that. And I was just like, okay, because I've always been pretty intuitive with my energy and I've been able to tell, like, okay, these people literally don't want to fuck with me. And like, that's okay. And like, I've been called weird, I've been called names, I've been called odd, bizarre, you fucking name it. I've heard it all. And that's okay. Like, that's the thing. Like, it takes time to accept yourself as you are, but rejection, honestly, um, can make us feel bad about ourselves. But just try to make a list of basically accomplishments or things that you like about yourself, right? Things that you don't need no other fucking person out there to tell you, things that make you happy, things that you know that you are great accomplishments of yours. So just write that down. And this can be kind of helpful in reminding you of the good things about you or the good things you still have in your life, right? In those moments where you're feeling fucking your self-esteem just, yeah. So think about that. If you're struggling to think of anything to put on those lists, ask people who you trust to help. Ask people like, hey, what would you say are some good qualities about me? But you should be able to at least find one good quality about you. Like, for one, you're alive, you're breathing. That heart of yours inside of there is ticking. So there's something to be said there about that. Yeah. So again, I know rejection is kind of like, rejection all starts from when we're little kids. I think the minute that we allow and I say this with emphasis because nothing can really, nothing can really make us feel bad if we don't allow it to. So I know you're probably like, well, then why'd you tell me all those things, Vanessa? Because I'm just trying to be helpful and just kind of say, like, hey, like, okay, I get, you know, the word rejection. Like when I think of rejection, I think of eject. Like, I think of a CD popping out of an old school DVD player and the DVD player saying, nah, bitch, we're not playing this fucking movie for you because it's too scratched up. And I don't do scratched up DVDs, bitch. So we ejecting you up out of here, right? Like, that's what I think, right? That's what I think. I think about being ejected out of somewhere. Like, someone just doesn't like me. I'm not accepted. They don't want no fucking part of me. But that's the thing. Like, no one can make you feel that way unless you allow them to. So let's get started with a couple of things. I don't know. I'm not going to start labeling them, but number one, say with me, if you get rejected, just know that it's a blessing in disguise. Number one, if you get rejected by a situation, don't get upset of it. Take a fucking breath. It's a blessing in disguise because nothing happens for nothing. Number two, nothing in your life happens for no reason. Everything has its purpose that you are aligning and creating for yourself. Okay? So, are we getting that? Okay. Great. Number one, let's go through them one more time. Number one, rejection is a blessing in disguise, so don't even trip on it. Socially, whether it's at work, whether it's fucking with a person you're with, you feeling rejected by them, just know that it's a blessing in disguise. And number two, nothing is for nothing. Can we just put that up here somewhere? Nothing is for nothing. Yeah. So don't even trip on that. And yeah, number three, just brush it off your fucking shoulders and say, you know what? It's all good. Because whether this person or this fucking job force doesn't like me, I'm just gonna keep on fucking trucking, right? And I'm gonna still keep going for what I want out of life. And it's that simple, right? You don't have to feel bad. You don't have to feel ashamed, because at the end of the day, you have to acknowledge that if you allow yourself to be rejected, it is because maybe perhaps you don't value yourself as much as you thought you did. Because if somebody rejects you and you allow them to make you feel that way, then chances are you don't really value yourself the way you should. So, number 3, brush it off your fucking shoulders and ask yourself, how much do I value myself that I would allow anybody to make me feel rejected? And just brush it off, okay? Get the dust off, okay? So, yeah, you guys, rejection is not really something that, we could sit here and talk about for hours, because to be honest, it feels like a pretty, you know, it seems like a pretty kind of, like, I feel like it's just something that doesn't often get talked about. And rejection can often, kind of lead to people getting offended by certain things and feeling betrayal, and again, a lot of this stems from unmet expectations that maybe you have about a certain thing or a place. And I think that number 4, rejection will end once you stop putting expectations on something and just let life be and let yourself be and allow yourself to make mistakes and allow yourself to take risks, because that ultimately it's going to lead to a lot of feelings of rejection when things don't get met the way you want them to. So in order to kind of cut through that bullshit is basically just, try your best to look at the situation as positive as you can, but just know that, oh, sorry, you guys, I'm over here trying to crack my neck. Just know that you are in control of it all. And at the end of the day, nobody can make you feel rejected about any dumb thing. And basically, any rejection that I've ever had, whether it was socially or through a job workforce, I've managed to understand that if I felt that I was being rejected, it was never because of the other person's inability to see the good in me. It was because of the inability for me to see the good in myself. And so based on that, every time where I did feel it, I knew that there was something deeper that maybe I needed to work on myself. And every time I felt it, I dealt with it, and I just was like, you know what, come on, let's go. And now I'm to the point where if, you are in a situation where you feel something's just off and someone is just, there's something about you that they're just not vibing on, maybe they are like, no, we don't want any part of you with us. It's okay. You know what, man? The best and strongest thing that you can do for yourself and for your mind and for your time and energy is just to know that it's a blessing in disguise, and for you to just keep going. Okay? Keep walking through doors. If doors close, keep opening new ones for yourself. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people say when one door closes, another one opens, right? But I'm here to tell you that no door can really close, like mentally and spiritually inside of you, because you are the key. So nothing can ever close on you. Okay? So you are the key to everything. So you can never have the feeling of rejection. Like maybe it can happen physically, but spiritually, no one can ever make you feel rejected. And if they do, again, I'm going to start from the beginning. Number 1, every rejection is a blessing in disguise. Number 2, nothing is for nothing. And number 3, okay, just brush that shit off your shoulders, dust it off, okay, and just keep on trucking along. And number 4, just don't acknowledge it, okay? Understand that you are the key. You are the key to making yourself whatever you want to be. If it's the most desirable, if it's the most social person in the book, if there's something that you're battling, you are the key. And you can open any goddamn door you wish. Okay? So, on that note, I hope something that I said here today really helped you understand that rejection happens, it occurs, it's a real thing, but just know that you have control and that this is the fucking word that is man-made. It's a man-made word, and it can have no hold on you unless you allow it to. Because the minute that you allow this word to have hold on you, society has a hold on you. Your workforces has a hold on you. Everybody just fucking got you by the throat. Everybody's just like, no. And there I go. I did it again. But yeah. So again, I hope anything I said here today really helped you out. Just understand that, boo, you get rejected, it's a blessing in disguise. Don't even trip on that bullshit, because look at where I'm at now, okay? You make your own damn path. So, we're not having that shit here. So yes, you have any questions about today's show, feel free to email me at PeopleTalkNow@hotmail.com. Reach out to me on Facebook, People Talk Now. Reach out to me on IG, DM me, and yeah, if you want to email me, I'm going to put the email down here, PeopleTalkNow@hotmail.com. And yeah, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, you guys know that if you have any ideas or things that you're like, hey, Vanessa, I feel like you should talk about this, then feel free to email me and let me know. Or put it in the comments below what I should talk about next. And yeah, as always, you guys always know that I like to leave the show with a joke and a word of the day. So, because I like you guys leaving my show, learning something new that you didn't know before. And so, yeah, today's joke of the day is called Hunting Gone Wrong. So, two hunters are out in the woods when one of them collapses. He's not breathing and his eyes are glazed. The other guy whips out his cell phone and calls 911. I think my friend is dead, he yells. What can I do? The operator says, calm down, sir. First, let's make sure he's dead. There's silence and then a gunshot. Back on the phone, the guy says, okay, so now what? Motherfucker just killed his best friend because he was high. Okay? Like, I was just like, when I read that small little detail where I was like, his eyes are glazed, could he have just been high and maybe just passed out because he was too fucking high? And then his friend really went and killed him. That's fucked up. That's straight up. He got rejected right now. Like, that's just fucked up on so many levels. Damn. So yeah, now for our word of the day. Today's word should be fun. Okay, so the word is aggrandize. So aggrandize. Aggranddize. The definition of it is to make great or greater, to increase or enlarge, to make appear great or greater, or praise highly, to enhance the power, wealth, position, or reputation of. Did you know aggrandize has enhanced the English vocabulary since the early 17th century? English speakers adapted aggrandize, the stem of French verb agrandir, to form aggrandize, and later used the French form of aggrandizement as the basis of the noun aggrandizement. The root of agrandis is Latin, and it comes from grandis, meaning large, great. Nowadays, both noun and verb are regularly paired somewhat despairingly with the prefix self to refer to individuals bent on glorifying themselves, as sports writer Alan Chipnuck demonstrates in a 2015 Sports Illustrated article, writing, golf is not a sport that smiles upon the self-aggrandizing. So yeah, there you have it, you guys. Aggrandize. Aggrandize. Sorry. Aggrandize. I hope I'm saying it right. So yeah, if you feel like you know how to use that word in a sentence, use the word hashtag People Talk Now, and I will go check it out and I'll share it to my stories, because I'm trying to figure out a good way to use that in a sentence. So yeah, as always, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Today's episode was really fun. Episode 36, we made it, y'all. Thank you guys so much for supporting and being here through all 36 episodes. If you're new to this channel and you don't know who the hell I am, and you're like, who the hell is that bald bitch right there? I am Vanessa Herrera, and I am the host of People Talk Now. So yes, welcome. And if you're also new to this channel, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And also turn on those post notifications so that way you know when I post a new video. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a kick-ass Wednesday. Bye.